Hello there, good afternoon, and thank you to everybody tuning in to the webinar about postgraduate economics at UL. My name is Mauricio Perez Alanis. I am an assistant professor in the Department of Economics at the Cambridge Business School, and I'm here today also with Dr. Lucas Gould. Lucas, he's also an assistant professor at the Department of Economics. I am the course director of the Postgraduate Diploma in Economics and Policy at the Department of Economics, and Lucas is the course director for the MSc in Economics and Policy Analysis. So just to give you a brief overview of what we're doing today, today we have a session to provide more information about what entails to do a postgraduate course in economics in UL, the offering, and the different avenues through which you can actually get involved. So to begin with, I'd like to quickly run through a few slides outlining really what economics is about, what do economists do, and why we think is important. So with that, we can start. So what is economics? So when we can define economics in a broad case, like economics is a study of scarcity and choice, as well as the implications of our choices. In layman's term, is a focus on how we make decisions when we have multiple options and limited resources. And this is it happens all the time. You probably want to buy certain things. You have limited money and you have to choose. So what are you giving up? To get something, you have to give up something else, and so on and so forth. So this is what we really focus on economics. I would emphasize economics is not history with a bit of math. Yes, admittedly, we like a bit of history, and that's because to understand what we do today, we need to look at how we got to this point, what we did yesterday. So history is important. And also categorically, no, economics is not just about money and growth. We covered a wide range of topics. For example, so we have a wide focus. We range from the foundations of individual decision making to the design and implementation of public policy. We look at inequality of growth, climate change, education, health, digital economy, the road to net zero, and so on. And as these two here on the screen, Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo, Nobel laureates in economics, emphasize, economics is a great tool to understand and shape the world that we live in. So we think it's great. I hope you think that too. Why do we study economics? Well, I can go around and say, well, because it's really relevant for understanding issues that affect our daily lives, it's vital for understanding societal grand challenges of our time, and so on. But in reality, also, economics has really good career prospects. So you can go into business, banking, finance, you can go into government, policy analyst, consultancy, and so on. So overall, I think it's very complete and has really good career prospects. Our approach in the KBS, we focus specifically on understanding the global economic challenges of our time. We focus on understanding how public policy is analyzed and evaluated. We focus on understanding global economic policy trends, the key skills for economic decision making, and very importantly, we focus on the importance of evidence for policy, so evidence-based policy making, and how applied economics fits into that. Now we get to the point is how do you get involved? I hope that at this point you're thinking, great, tell me more. How can I get involved? So there are three different routes that you can get involved at the postgrad level. You can get involved in doing the MSc in Economics and Policy Analysis. Lucas in a moment is going to talk you through about these. You can get involved through the Economics and Public Policy Postgraduate Diploma, or you can get involved through the micro-credential routes. In this specific webinar, we're going to be focusing on the first two. I briefly mentioned micro-credentials at the end, but if you have any questions about this, you can reach out to me later on. So over to you, Lucas, if you want to start telling us about the MSc.
Okay, well, thank you, Mauricio. So I'm the course director of the MSc, or Master of Science, in Economics and Policy Analysis. And the big idea of that program is to train you to actually actively contribute to research and policy. So this might be, for instance, to debate economic policy in health economics, to present your ideas that you have to researchers and practitioners, or to take a deep dive into economic and social issues in a master dissertation to focus on one. And these 3 examples are actually assignments or assessments that you're going to do in your program. So this program is really all about kind of preparing you to work in a private or public sector in kind of roles that kind of are involved with research, with policy. And we acknowledge you also need certain technical skill, right? But we combine those technical skills with information and problem solving. So for instance, when you learn statistical software, it's data on R, you do it while exploring real life issues and data in applied data project. When we discuss statistical approaches, you're going to use them also in your own projects, right? So it's all about you being active. So you don't just understand the statistical properties of a certain estimator, for instance, but you kind of see how this actually applies and when we use data and when you do your own research project. When we talk about economic theory, as Mauricio nicely said, like it's a way of understanding the world, of structuring your thought and so on. It's actually, it's quite widely applicable therefore, right? Because it's a very general framework, so we can apply it to different areas. And in your master, you're going to see very different modules where we actually apply to very different areas. So let's have a look at that. Let's look at the different modules that you're going to do. And you're going to see that actually already in your master's program, you're going to apply this way of thinking about the world, economic theory and statistical theory, to quite a lot of different areas. So in the first term, in the autumn term, you're going to have some general economic theory modules, including the history of economic thought, microeconomics, macroeconomics, but already those are quite applied, as also the names will tell you. They're actually called macroeconomics for policy and so on. And well, for instance, macro is taught by my colleague, Stephen Kinsella, who is the economic advisor to the Taoiseach, or Irish Prime Minister, by adjunct lecturers who work in the central bank and for Davy stockbrokers. So from that teaching team, you already see that they have quite a applied or policy background already, which is really helpful if you want to work in this kind of environment later on. We teach you something about research methods and skills again. So again, like this applied data analysis module that I talked about already. You do need a little bit of maths and statistics to understand, to kind of follow the other modules, but also kind of generally in your kind of later careers as economists. So this is a big topic. We're going to talk about this later a little bit again, or not. It shouldn't be a big topic because really in this master program compared to other master programs, I think you can do it, even if, I mean, it can be intimidating, but it's not, it shouldn't be kind of end your kind of interest in that program. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in more detail. And in the first module, so you get this math and stat that brings you basically up to the level that you need. If, for instance, your undergraduate degree is a few years back, or maybe you haven't done so much in your undergraduate degree. But if you have a recent undergraduate degree, for instance, in URL with some economics, you should actually have seen most of the topics there already. So such as matrix calculation, derivatives, a little bit of optimization. So the last time you have this applied theory, which I mean really kind of this applying, well, all these modules are applied. Here you apply basically economic theory to a specific area. In the first term, there would be health economics. In the second term, you have a few more, such as global challenges, public finance, or regulation of monopolies, or public-private partnerships, industrial policy, labor, and education. So you have quite a range of different areas where you can actually apply economic theory and statistical theory. And you also get a little bit more training in research skills, such as in econometrics, so statistical methods, or research design, where you're going to discuss different research approaches, and you're going to see how you can use them for your own master dissertation project. One of the great assets of this master's program is that you actually have your own room. So we have a room that is exclusively used for the MSc program, and this means that all your lectures are in there. And it also means that outside of lectures, you can actually use that room to work in groups, to kind of learn together, which is really important if you want to have some kind of collaborative or peer-to-peer way of learning together for exams, to work together on projects and so on. So having this room is actually, it's a huge plus. And also that the cohort is only between around 15 to 20 students typically. So this year we have 13, kind of allows you to, well, use that room effectively, but also that all your modules are relatively small. So all the modules are specifically just for the MSc. So you don't share your modules with any other program. Therefore, you're going to always have, like, say, 15 or 20 students sitting there with you, which gives also the lecturers a lot of time to engage with you. So unlike an undergraduate program where you might have 500 people in your module, now actually you have the time, and you should actually make use of that. You should ask questions. You should kind of come to office hours, send emails and so on. because lecturers actually have the time to engage and kind of discuss different issues with you, to discuss the content with you, and it can really greatly improve the way of your learning and make, in particular, when you kind of not just learn technical skill, but how to apply them. There's a lot of kind of tacit knowledge around that as well. So it's great to actually have these small cohort size, and also the direct interaction with lecturers and with your fellow students. While being a small program, we are based within the Chemie Business School and University of Limerick, so therefore you can share all the great facilities and advantages that come with a big university, such as sport facilities, student life, and also loads of other postgraduate students and different master programs. You have a bit of a community there going on, and you not just see the same 15 people all year round, which might get boring at some point. So, of course, you do the masters because you want a job afterwards, or you want to do something afterwards with it. So while it's a great program, there are also some great outcomes afterwards, right? So a lot of our graduates, in particular Irish and EU nationals, go into the public sector. For instance, IGES, the Irish government's economic evaluation service, the Central Bank of Ireland, different government departments, research institutes such as the ESRI, but also others go into the private sector. We have graduates working in AIB, the Northern Trust, Davy, stockbrokers, Sherry Fitzgerald, auctioneers, and importantly, the role that you're going to do in these. So even you might join the same company, you're going to have a different role, and certain roles really require some kind of postgraduate study, such as a master's. You're going to come in at a different level, typically, or some roles really that only hire people with master degrees. So this is an important difference here as well, not just where you work, but also in what role you're going to work there. So after the MSc, of course, you can continue doing a PhD. Very few do, but we have quite a few, well, very few of the master graduates do a PhD. But most of our PhD students actually in the Chemie Business School have done our master's program as well. And in Ireland, typically, you do need a first an MSc to do a PhD afterwards. I always recommend, if you're interested in a PhD, you should do the double degree program with HEC Liège, which is a university in Belgium. You actually don't have additional fees there. All you do is do a second, one more term after your first year in UL, and you get another master's degree that is really a 2-year master's program. So it's actually, you're getting that quite cheaply, I'd say. Anyway, we're going to talk about this more because we have actually some guests from HEC Liège today. But before we get there, I briefly want to tell you what you have to do if you're interested in this program. So before the MSc, what you need, you should really have done some economics in your undergraduate degree. And you need certain grades, but if you worry about either the one or the other, just get in contact with me and we can discuss your profile, we can discuss your undergraduate degree economics, or any other question you really have about the application or the program in, for instance, a MS Teams meeting, or you send me an email and we can just go forth and back by email. Very happy to kind of set up to answer all your questions that you might have. And if you especially if you worked before, you don't want to kind of pay the application fee, you don't want to make a final decision on the application, just get in contact and we can discuss this very under the hand and informally. Once you're ready, you can apply through the UL website, for instance, for the MSc Economics website, which should come up if you search MSc at UL in Google. Importantly, scholarships. There not as many scholarships as you might see in an American university. Also the fees are not nearly as high, so you don't need that. But there are significant fees, and actually it's very important. So that's also why I would invite you to kind of talk to me if you're interested, because there are significant fees for a master, like in any master program in Ireland, there are significant fees. Most non-EU applicants qualify for the KBS Merit Scholarship, which you get automatically with a certain grade average. So get in contact with me as well to discuss that. And therefore, because in particular, the fees for non-EU applicants are relatively high, so this kind of helps there a little bit. Maybe one more word about the fees. So they are high. They're relatively low compared to your life earnings, right? So if you see it in this investment, it's a lot of money at the point you're at, because without having worked first and so on, it is a serious investment. And everyone is probably agrees that it should be cheaper. But over your lifetime, it might be worthwhile, because you're actually getting financially, you're going to earn more, but also qualifies you for different roles. So please get in contact if you have questions about anything with me. And I want now to discuss this with 3 current students actually based in Liège at the moment. So they're second-year programs. They've decided to do the double degree program, but they're going to finish soon. So they're going to finish after this term. They just have to write a master dissertation. And therefore, they're actually in a situation where they can give you feedback on the UL program. They can give you feedback on the double degree program. But I can also tell you already, because they already have looked a little bit into getting jobs, and they've seen others from their cohort kind of apply for jobs and so on. So they can tell you a little bit about what the program is, but also what comes out of the program and what they did before. So Zorka, Shifra, and Rachel, thank you very much for joining me here. Very much appreciated. And actually, they were very kind as well. They offered to share the email address. So if you have any question, you can also just email them directly. The email address are here on the slide. We can share them later again if you weren't able to note them down. But since we share the recording, you can just note them from the slide later on again as well. So let me start maybe and just ask you quick questions about the study program. So thanks again. Can I maybe just start with I don't know, why did you do economics, and how did you choose the MSc at UL?
So I'll take that one. So I'm Shifra. I came from my undergrad in economics and finance in UL. So I obviously got to know an awful lot of the lecturers and the TAs before graduating and stuff. So then I always knew I wanted to do a master's, and I knew how kind of helpful and just like heavily acclaimed the Department of Economics are in UL. And I looked at the course program, everything, applied micro, macroeconomic theory, data analysis, econometrics. It's so applicable to careers, future, anything, research, kind of whatever avenue you want to go into. Yeah, that's why I chose it, and I can't recommend it enough really for anyone who is interested in enrolling.
Okay, well, thanks. That's actually great. Thanks. That's very positive. So I'm glad to hear that. So yeah, so you chose it. So what was your experience doing the program then? So in general, I want to talk about maths specifically after that, but maybe just in general, like, so what's student life like? What are the modules like?
So it is hard work. Like, I feel we can all agree, like, it is hard work. But you mentioned, the room. That room is actually such a resource. Whiteboards everywhere, everyone learns together. We're always all together. You nearly are like a family by the end of it. The experience itself, yeah, it's tough work, but the returns personally that you notice straight away are insane, with confidence, problem solving. I think confidence is probably the best one. And there's so much. You come out of your undergrad and you're like, oh, I know it all. And then you go into the master's and you realize, oh my God, I haven't even scratched the surface. So really, for professional development and for professional development as well. Honestly, like, it was the best thing that we could have done, I think. And then overall, the workload, it is hard, but it's so worth it.
Everyone is very helpful as well. The lecturers, all the TAs, if you have any issues, like Lucas mentioned, they're more than happy to help you with anything. So don't be afraid to reach out. You may as well use it while they're there, because they are there to help you.
Yeah,
so
and they're all so passionate about what they do, and you can feel it. It's really motivating. It's a really motivating environment to be a part of.
Okay, well, that's thanks. That's actually great. So I'm very happy you said confidence as well, because I think one big difference to the undergrad as well is that we want you to do research, to present your research, defend your ideas, and because that's something you have to do in every job afterwards. And I think that is actually a key outcome really for us to kind of have this kind of you not just get your results, but also be able to debate them and defend your ideas. And also, I'm very glad you mentioned that. That's actually great. So, then I know maths. I know for some of you, Rachel, you have a maths undergrad, so it's easier. But that's very rare in our program now. I think you probably were the only one. So I know some people come into this program and have done very little maths before. Can you maybe just address this quickly? So should these people be worried? Is there like kind of, how have you experienced this from yourself, but also others in the program that had issues with mathematics?
So I'm a bit different to the girls. My background was more like social policy, social science. So I had definitely economics modules, but definitely less maths. So I would say don't let it deter you from applying or starting the masters, but just be ready to have to put the work in a little bit. But you do like a mini maths kind of course at the start of the year, and it's really helpful for basically the whole year. And even in Liège, we still use them pretty much like every day for any assignments. So, and as we mentioned, the TAs, the lecturers are all super helpful. They, even with the coding, I had never coded before, and like they literally start from scratch. I probably would recommend, maybe if you are worried, maybe like watch some YouTube videos about STAT, or before you start, maybe that might be helpful. But you genuinely don't even need to be worried, because once you kind of start, they go from scratch, and then you kind of use it from there. And we kind of use it all the time over here as well. But it's a really helpful resource, so like don't be scared about it at all, because what you can do is pretty good for all your assignments and all the research that you do. So definitely be aware that you will have a lot of maths, but I would say don't let it deter you from applying, or your confidence. Don't let it knock it at all, because once you kind of get into it, it's actually fine. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. And also, again, I'm very happy to kind of discuss your background, maths background, if you come with a different maths background, to discuss what exactly you expected. Yeah, so actually, it's interesting you brought up the coding. Coding has become much easier with ChatGPT. So well, it can't help you always. It kind of it has become much more easier to code nowadays than it was, say, 2 or 3 years ago. So that really should kind of be less intimidating nowadays than it used to be. You brought up Liège as well, though. So can I ask you, so this is kind of, I know it's not everyone in the master's going to do that, but I think it is a fantastic opportunity. As I said, in particular, if you want to go really deep into kind of research, want to do a PhD or something like that, then the Liège program is really great. And can you tell us something about the double degree program?
Yeah, well, we found it really enjoyable. The lecturers in Limerick are really nice. The lecturers over here are really helpful as well. Any issues, the TAs are super helpful as well. And as Shiva mentioned, it is heavy work in Limerick, but it kind of sets you up quite well for Liège. We think it's pretty okay over here. The modules are a bit more like mathsy side, but as I mentioned, the maths you do in UL sets you up perfectly for Liège as well. And like the application process is pretty straightforward. We kind of arrived and we were straight into it, so there's no problems. A lot of like international students over here as well that you make friends with. Like it's taught all through English, in case anyone was wondering if it's through French, it's English. And everyone's English is pretty good over here, so don't let that be a deterrent either. And it's as Lucas mentioned, 5 months and you get a second master's. It's pretty unheard of, no fees. So I would definitely, if you are thinking of doing it, look into it more, and definitely recommend it. And accommodation is pretty okay to find. If you have any questions about that, you can email us about accommodation, anything like that. And yeah, I think we'd all definitely recommend it if you are thinking of doing it.
Well, that's great. Thanks, and thanks again for all these offers of help there. I mean, like, I think it also shows kind of how great a atmosphere there was, maybe in particular in your cohort, but I think in general between UL students and graduates. I think it's a great group. Can I ask? I mean, I know you're still studying, but what are your experience with job search?
So myself and Shifa are going to IGES, so the Irish Government Economic Evaluation Service. We're both in different departments. I'm heading off to the Department of Finance, the Housing Division, and Shifa is heading off to higher education. Even in terms of like coming to Liège and stuff, IGES were really accommodating in the fact that I'm starting my job. I was due to start in September, but decided I wanted to come to Liège. IGES were very helpful in like letting me postpone my start date until February, so like my job's waiting for me now once I'm finished over here. Other people in our course have gone to like in the public and private sector. They're kind of like there's a mix of like they're like kind of everywhere. The ESRI, the CSO. I think there's a fellow with Aer Lingus.
Yeah.
And in different types of like financial services roles. I wouldn't say like I had struggled to find a job afterwards. Like
no. We only applied.
I only applied for IGES and I got it normally.
Yeah, same here. And again, my job is waiting for me in February as well. And sure, Tom last year, Central Bank waited for him, so he started in Central Bank there when he finished. So don't be worried about it, like kind of affecting your ability to get a job if you want to come over here.
Well, congratulations first. Like, I mean, like that's great having a job lined up while you're still studying and all. Like, I mean, I know that's not the rule for most programs, also for most students. I mean, it's quite extraordinary. So congratulations on that. And again, thanks so much for taking the time. It was really, I think, really interesting for me personally as well to hear your experience. And I think we have to rush on because Mauricio wants to present on the PD. So thanks again. And since you have given your email addresses there, yeah, just if everyone has a question, maybe just email the individuals directly. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know who you take questions, but like just email one. Maybe.
Any of us, we don't mind. Yeah, whichever.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Right. Thank you, Lucas. And that was a great presentation and a great discussion there. So that was fantastic. So if you have any further questions on the MSc, please reach out to Lucas, and please keep the questions coming up in the chat. I see that many of the issues probably have been addressed already, but anyways, keep doing it. That's great. So as I said, I am the course director of the PD in Economics and Public Policy. This is a postgraduate diploma. It's also a level 9, similar to the master, but this is a minor award. And it is flexible. It's a blended approach. You can do it online, and it's 60 credits, level 9. You can do it 1 year or in 2 years. So basically, what is this PD? So Lucas, I was talking about the MSc, that you need to have a background in economics, you need to have some kind of level of pre-existing skills, but there are lots of people out there who did an undergrad in something else, and they are interested in economics, and they like to do economics at the postgrad level. So at the moment, it's not possible for if you feel identified with this situation, it's not possible to progress to a master degree directly, and this is where this PD in economics comes in. It acts as a bridge for people who want to study economics at the postgrad level, but who do not have an extensive background, undergraduate background in the subject, especially for those who want to progress to an MSc and they want to, get this first experience. It's also very relevant for those who want to upskill, to gain a promotion, especially teachers who wants to teach economics at the post-primary level. People who work in technical jobs and they always constantly in discussions with economists, and they want to understand what they mean or what they, how they think. So this is a great way to do that. So how does it work? It is a hybrid approach. It is targeted at people who are already working. So it mixes some in-person activities and online learning. So it's mostly online. So we have an induction academy at the beginning of the program, which is in person. We ask people to come in so we can get to know them a bit more. But some people can also do this online, depending on the situation. If you are abroad and you are unable to come to Ireland, we can also arrange for you to do it online. Then most of the program is delivered online, as I said, in our new virtual learning environment called Brightspace. This really allows students to have the different websites, different sites for each of the modules. Every week you get new material. The lectures are pre-recorded, so you can watch them on demand. So instead of watching a Netflix show on a Friday night, you can tune in and see Lucas teaching you econometrics, or see myself teaching you other things about climate change and economics, if you choose to do that. Besides the recorded lectures, you can access loads of material. You can access reading material, articles, and so on and so forth, which contributes to the lectures as well. A key part of this PD is that it is highly research-led. So basically, we go straight into the applied economic issues that normally in a normal economics degree, you would take a lot longer to get to. So it's quite, after a first semester of understanding the key theory, we go straight into the application of the theory. So it's research-led and heavily on applied economics. It can be completed over 1 year or 2 years, depending on your availability. And if you want to do it over 1 year, this is how it looked like. So you have a first semester, you have the autumn semester, you have the induction academy, and you have 3 modules. Decision-making with scarce resources and the natural economy are fancy names for what we call microeconomics and macroeconomics. And then you have a module on data exploration and analysis, which fits very nicely between these two. So you understand how to fetch data, how to work with data, present it, and analyze it. Following the completion of this first semester, you have the applied modules. You have the contemporary issues in economics and policy, and applied economics and public policy. And then you have a module on the global economy. And everything is capped with the residential academy at the end. So from September to June, you do all these modules. Now, if you don't have the time to engage in what we call the full-time version of the module, you're going to do it part-time. And I know we have some questions here part-time about the part-time module. So the way it works is you do exactly the same amount of modules, but you split them in a different way. So you start with the two theoretical modules in the first semester. Then in the second semester, you go to the applied economics module, and then you return to the other ones in the next year. The year of the next academic year. Okay. So if you want to look at any specific details of the modules of the PD in economics and policy, you can follow this link, the book of modules, and you can type the name, and you can quickly find all the learning outcomes and so on and so forth. Why am I saying this? Because some people, as I will be mentioning in a moment, you can access these modules as a standalone micro-credentials. These are 9 credit standalone modules that you can do without doing the whole PD, and also build up your credits as you go along. In terms of assessment, we have a mix of essays, reports, live and recorded presentations, worksheets, and individual group projects. Each of the modules is different. The issue now that we have is ChatGPT is changing the landscape and how we can assess. So we're increasingly moving towards active modes of assessment. So you actually do something. We have to see you doing something. You have to discuss something, and so on. So I think the writing part, the writing essays, perhaps it will be a thing of the past in the next few years. But we'll see how we develop. It is online, and we don't go after all the students and all the time tracking their progress. It is targeted for people who want to, are professionals who want to upskill. So it is up to you how you engage, the level of engagement. But we expect some level of continuous engagement from your own side and at your own pace as well. We have live sessions as well to discuss any questions or anything that you might need in additional information. And we provide a lot of media and reading materials. So it's up to you to really get going. And we do monitor how much you read, how much you do, but we don't really interfere that much, okay? So it's very much up to the honors of their own students. I don't have a panel of testimonials, but we have previous students who recently graduated, and they really highlight the value that they take out of this program. So we don't, this is a new program targeted at people who have their own specific goals, professional goals, and they want to use economics for different reasons. So in this case, this person is interested in AI and also firms activities. I think it works in a corporate world. And the way is an IT consultant, and the way this was presented to us is this person wanted to learn more about economics so he can engage with people talking about strategy and so on and so forth. So he did the PD, and he was very happy with the outcomes. Then we have another testimonial that talks about how people can actually tie in their own work and their own experience into the PD by learning the economic tools. They can apply these tools to many scenarios, and this person was very, very happy because they could understand more of how things work in their own work environment as a result of the PD. So this is positive. It's a new program, but so far we got really good feedback. So if you want to find out more for the applications, you can find the course website. You can declare your interest there, or you can just start an application. And if you have any questions before you do that, you can reach out to me. I leave there my email address. So we always, happy to take any questions or any comments on board. So thank you very much indeed. And that concludes the presentation. And we open the floor to any comments, questions. I see here a few in the chat. Lucas, I know that you've been asked about scholarships for the masters. Would you like? You mentioned this in your presentation. Do you have anything else to add to that? You're on mute, I think.
Oh, thanks, Mauricio. So there is a web scholarship. There is a website that kind of covers this all. So while there is a website, these scholarships change from year to year as well. So I wouldn't take it. There might be additional scholarships available. So if you're interested in a specific scholarship, always email the credit office, who is responsible. There's some Oh, this is, yeah, for instance, this is, if you just go look on Google KBS scholarship, there's outdated information. So email me or email the GPS for the, well, most up-to-date information. So the kind of biggest scholarship, as I mentioned earlier, is this merit-based scholarship, which is €2,500 of the non-EU fee, which is quite sizable, and it's not very difficult to get, because so most applicants would qualify for that actually. So, but what I can't give a specific number average that you have to reach to get it, because it depends on the country you're from. So it's actually calculated by the graduate office. Again, so they kind of provide us with that information directly. But I would kind of just email me or kind of look at the current up-to-date information, because I can't give you a general answer for, because it depends what exactly your background is as well, what kind of scholarship you qualify for. There's a lot of non-UL scholarships as well, especially for, say, students from developing countries. And again, so there's too many different ones that I could, for me to kind of just give a general answer here. But if you're more interested, send me an email with your specific situation and I can look into that for you.
Thank you, Lucas. Yeah, that's very good. For the case of the PD in economics and policy, these we have some internal funding that we offer to applicants, and this depends on a case-by-case basis. So we have a lot of international students who have applied for the PD, and they do get some kind of like scholarships. The scholarship goes towards a discount in the fees. The same applies for a lot of EU and Irish applicants. We do have discounts as well for that. I mean, discount scholarships that goes towards the tuition fee. So any questions, we need to assess each specific case. So it would be good for you to reach out to us. Let me see all the questions that we might have here. Okay, I see somebody's. Okay. So I graduated with an economics degree. Sorry, Lucas, yeah?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I think Keith also wrote it. So the Q&A doesn't seem to work. So just if you have any questions, just type them into the chat.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Something to do. I graduated with an economics degree in 2022. I have no full-time work experience, but I have internship experience. Am I qualified? So in this case, for the PD, yes, you are fully qualified. For the MSc, it will depend on your performance, I understand, right, Lucas?
Yes, so the full-time work is, I mean, I would take it into consideration if you don't have a economics degree, but since you have an economics degree, that is more than sufficient for as qualification. So if you have an undergraduate degree with economics up to a certain average, which is a 2.2 in Ireland, or in UL, you would qualify for the MSc.
Super.
Yeah, and of course,
when does the course start? Sorry, Lucas.
Yeah, no, sorry, that's the same question. So I guess like both courses start in 2025, September 2025. The next intake is then.
That is indeed the case. Yes, September 2025. Let me see. I believe that we have covered. Let me just check the previous questions.
So we can go to Q&A maybe.
Yeah. Okay. What kind of jobs can be got with this degree? And there is many jobs available. The many jobs available, I think, goes beyond the scope of our, and I guess what we do. I think, what kind of jobs can you get? I think, Lucas, you gave a really good outline of the type of jobs that people go on to get in the Irish case, right?
Yes. So typically a master's degree, because it kind of empowers you to kind of do your own active research or kind of use research to inform policy debates, to kind of make more advanced kind of analysis kind of cases in a business environment. It kind of, for any job where that is important, that is what you get out of an MSc. For the PD, yeah, Mauricio, you might want to take that one. Or
yeah, the PD has, I mean, it has a similar profile, but is not as advanced as the master's level degree, of course. What we do get is a lot of professionals who want to upskill and use, the PD within what they're already doing to advance their career. Some people also might want to engage with the PD and then go on and do something like an additional 30 credits and get what we call now a master's in professional practice. This is something new that's happening in UL, and it's basically you can build up the credits and get a master's level degree in professional practice by building the PD in economics and something else on the side. So you might want to like top it up with finance. You might want to top it up with a few micro credentials, which we haven't discussed in full. But as I mentioned before, you can take different standalone modules and build your credit profile in that way. Okay, we have one here for me, Lucas, if you don't mind. It says the part-time economics and public policy postgraduate diploma are all lectures, classes to be attended on campus and in real time. Are they held during the day? No, the PD in economics and policy you accessed online on your own time and at your own pace as well. So we don't have in-person, like let's say in-campus activities apart from the induction academy and the residential academy. Okay. I'll move to the other chat because I got questions in both of them. Okay, what level of math is required for the PG Dip? Not very much. You don't need. We don't. The PG Dip, because we already have professionals. We move away from the mathematical side of teaching economics, more at the conceptual and example led. So it's not much math based. Okay. We have one for you, Lucas. Can you enter the MSc without an undergraduate economics degree?
No, you don't need. I mean, no. I mean, no. The kind of the formal qualification is that you need a degree, and it needs to have some economic component. If it doesn't have any economic component, you might qualify for it if you have like work experience in economics or something like that. In generally, I would say it's probably the better route. It would be to take the PD first and then go into the MSc. But if you have an undergraduate degree, maybe send me an email and we can look whether you have some what your relevant experience there is. So it really depends, because the issue here is that you won't be able to follow some modules if you have no prior understanding of economics. But this is very specific again, so I would kind of just invite you maybe to send me an email and we can maybe discuss just what your specific profile is before you go through the whole process of applying and so on.
Yeah, that would be. I think it's the PD is designed for people like that. So yeah, it would be. Go and talk to Lucas. If Lucas says go and do the PD, come and talk to me. The next one is any graduate assistantship jobs. Well, we don't have anything specifically related to the programs, but in the Department of Economics, we always seeking for teaching assistants. We could be a possibility for research assistant jobs as well, if there's any going, but nothing is officially linked to the program. And also you can potentially work and do an internship in the area.
Yeah, so some students, while they do their MSc, they are actually teaching. So they're working as TAs while they're teaching. So they're taking on, or it has happened in the past. So if this is kind of to cover your expenses while you do the program, there are certain jobs that are linked to that, and there's some other jobs within the university as well that are available to students.
Super. The next one is, my agent actually applied for admissions for me in your postgraduate diploma in economics and policy for September. I want to find out how long does it take for admission decision to be out, because it's been over a month now. She did the application. Also, if given admission, can I apply for visa in this program? Well, I actually recognize this person. I've been emailing you. Please check your email because I tried to set up an interview with you and I didn't get any reply. So please check your inbox and you'll see me there. Also, if given admissions, can I apply for visa in this program? The answer is no. It's an online program. You can come to Ireland for the Induction Academy on a C2 visa, short term, a week or two, but then we will not be supporting people to get a visa because it's an online program. You can only get visas to do like in-person full-time programs, which requires a minimum of 15 hours in class, in person per week, and the PD does not qualify for that.
Which, by the way, so if we just because of the question about visa recently as well from Applic, so the MSc does give you a visa with a stayback visa as well, so you have time to look for a job afterwards. If you're non-EU, if you're EU, there's no issue anyway. But if you're non-EU applicant, you do receive a visa for the MSc. Unfortunately, the MSc does not visa does not qualify you for a visa for your, for instance, your spouse or your children. There's no family. You can't sponsor other people on the student visa. Only once you work, you can sponsor others on that visa. Or well, on a new visa. Then once you work after the program.
Super. The next question, it says, can I progress directly onto the MSc once I pass the PG Dip? This is from my side. The PG Dip is being created with this in mind, but ultimately will be Lucas' assessment of the overall application. Is that correct, Lucas?
Yes, so it certainly covers the economic aspect. So if you have an undergraduate degree in a different area, which is also kind of the qualification for the PD in my understanding, then once you have done the PD and you're doing well, if you do well on the PD, you're more or less guaranteed a place in the MSc. Yes, we haven't done any formal guarantee for that, but this is the understanding. So if you're able to kind of do the PD in a good way, this would certainly give us the signal that you actually can do the MSc as well. So you would be basically guaranteed a spot, but only basically guaranteed. So it is not a formal guarantee.
Yeah, I think a point there is well made there as well, Lucas, that you can do the PD and do it very badly. And if you do that, then the MSc might say no because you didn't perform at a slightly lower level. So it's a no. But if you show that you do well, of course, you will be considered.
The MSc is fully in person, sorry. So you have actually quite considerable, like as I said, we have this room and you're going to spend quite a bit of time in there if you want to do well on the MSc, and all the modules are taught in person.
Okay, it says, is the MSc offered online blended the same as the PG Dip? Lucas, the answer is no.
Yeah, sorry, that was the answer. Yeah, no, so it's all in person.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. No, the blended is the PG Dip. That's the one. There's another one. Thanks. You're welcome. So any other questions as well? Well, something that we didn't cover in the presentation, which I think, given that we have a few minutes, maybe is worth covering as well, is you want to do economics, you have these two options that we presented to you today, and you're still unsure and you wanted to give it a try before you commit to something, then we have the micro credentials, which we take the 6 modules that we have from the PD. Let's get there. Where are they? And you can engage in them individually, and you can get an experience of how this works. So what happens? You do one of these ones, and then you say, well, I actually want to do the PD. Great. What we do is we take your credits that you already accrued by doing these individually, and we get them as part of the PD. So that will have a financial implication because you get like a money back in a way from the tuition fees, and you get the credit. So you don't have to do it again, unless you want to, of course. Right, I think we have run out of questions. Anybody else? Nope.
Yes, I think one
Okay,
more.
there's one more coming.
Yeah.
Right, which micro credential would be best to start with? Who I get asked this all the time. I would start with the decision making with scarce resources because I think that gives you a really good start, a conceptual and theoretical start on the rest of the modules that we have. So if you do that one well, then you realize, you can actually get a good understanding of whether you're going to be doing well in the rest of the modules. So that would be decision making with scarce resources. Okay, I think this is okay. Go one more. Sorry, we're just giving the time for the person who is trying to type the question. Okay, I think that's a thank you there. In doing the micro-credentials, will I have to do the induction academy? No, not the academy for the PD. You have an individual induction, which is done by a different route. So you have the induction for the micro-credential is more to do with, okay, what resources are available at UL for online learning. If you have a problem with your account, where to reach out to, and so on and so forth. We don't have the same level of induction as the postgraduate diploma, but if you want to do it, we're always happy for you to tag along. That's fine. It's not required, but you can do it. I think we have one final comment coming through, and then okay, I think this is, I'm not sure if that is going to come through or not. Lucas, from my side, I have delivered the message. If people would like any further information, please reach out to me. I don't know, Lucas, if you have anything else to add to the conversation.
No, but you're very welcome all to kind of just email me as well. So yeah, and as I said earlier, so I'm happy to set up Teams meetings. Happy to answer questions by email as well. And so thanks for it. So there is English language requirement. If you have an undergraduate degree in English, I think that is sufficient.
That's right, yeah. If you have your undergrad in English, you don't need to show your English proficiency. That's given already. Okay, well, with that, so, I think we, sorry.
Yeah, at the end. No, thanks. No. I just say thank you as well. And thank you, Keith, for setting this all up and organizing the webinar for